This session basically is how we can actually understand our financial balance sheet. So a lot of times what really happens is that we see our balance sheets, our chartered accountants make our balance sheet, but we do not know how to study them. And so it is extremely important for us to understand that how we can actually make use of. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Presentation is for a very basic understanding of your balance sheet. If you have to judge it, how you can judge it, and what are the things that are going to be important for you. So balance sheet is a statement of financial position of a business that lists the asset, liabilities and owner's equity at a particular point in time. In other words, balance sheet illustrates your business worth, business net worth. If you look at your balance sheet today, it is going to give us what your business is worth as on today. It is not going to talk of what your business was worth 5 years back or what it was during the year. It is just going to talk what it is worth as on date. So now if you see, our balance sheets are basically three. We've taken a sample. I've taken a sample study of our balance sheets. So what really is our balance sheet? Our balance sheet is basically equity and reserves, which is the money that we've put in and what we've earned over the years. Loan is what we have taken from bank, from our friends, families, etc. And current liabilities is basically the funds which we have kept from our vendors, which we have not paid them yet. This is supposed to be liquidated and paid off quickly. On the other side, on the asset side, it's largely fixed assets, which can be machinery, property, building, computer, software, etc. And on the other hand, it's current assets, which is basically our stock, debtors, cash and bank balance, and deposits that we've made. So rent deposits, etc. are here. This is basically a money which we can liquidate in the next 1 year. This is basically the money which we have to pay in next 1 year. That is why it's called current liabilities, and that is why it's called current asset. So a balance sheet largely has these 4 sections. One is where the money is coming from. So either we bring in equity, which is a part of the ownership of the company, or we bring in loan where we pay interest on it. And on the other hand, there is assets, which is then broken into current assets, and on the other side, current liabilities. Okay, now let's understand. So all organizations are largely, there are 3 forms of organizations. Either you are a manufacturing organization, or you are a trading organization, or you have a service-based organization. So for manufacturing organizations, roughly this is how the balance sheet looks like. Assuming they brought in equity of 100 rupees and loan is also of 100 rupees, main of their investment actually goes into fixed assets, which is about creating the property, buying the machinery, setting up the machinery, etc. Their current assets is also higher, is also of a good quantum, but it is obviously much lower to the fixed assets. Then going to current liabilities, obviously we hope that the current liabilities will always be less than the current assets. Now when it comes to trading organizations will have very less investments in fixed assets. However, they will have very high investment when it comes to current assets. And so because their main investment actually goes into current assets and not so much into fixed assets. And obviously equity and loan have kept as same, and current liabilities also have kept at the same level as manufacturing. Now when it comes to services, see, services is an industry where your investment is not very huge. Mostly the amount of money that you put in a service industry initially is not always huge, because what you're really bringing is your know-how. So let's say where someone who is into a coaching industry, they do not invest 1 crore, 2 crore, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakhs. They initially invest their own mind, body, soul, and their own knowledge in it. So they are the raw material for their own organizations. And so mostly for a service-based industry, the investment is very less. So here, if you've seen, I've brought down the investment by half. And similarly, they do not have huge investment in fixed assets, but they will have high investments in current assets, because their main receivables are very high. Their debtors are mostly always on a high end. And current liabilities is also similar to various others. Okay, super. So let's understand the changes. Now, the main thing that you need to understand as the owner of an organization, how to understand the impact of my balance sheet. You are not going to be the one who is going to make the balance sheet. You will either have an accountant who is going to make the balance sheet for you, or you will have a chartered accountant who is going to make the balance sheet for you. But you as an owner should know that if this is going high, whether this is good for me or bad for me, if this is going low, what can be the impact of it? Your balance sheet will always reflect that your company, is it improving or is it going down? Also, any amount of fundraising that you plan to do, or if you want to apply for any government initiative, or if you want to apply for any awards for that matter, your balance sheet is the most important financial instrument they look at. First, their balance sheet, and next, they look at your profit and loss. So, it is very important as owners to understand what is the impact of every amount going up or down in your balance sheet. So, let's understand the 4-5 important things that we broke the balance sheet into. Let's understand their impact. So, what is equity? Equity is basically the money that you have brought in your company. Now, if you have a LLP or a private limited company, it will be called equity capital. If you have a partnership firm, it will be called partners capital. If you have a proprietorship firm, it will be called proprietors capital. But it is either capital or equity. Now, a lot of people think that equity is free. Equity का कोई पैसा नहीं लगता है. But as per my understanding, equity is the most expensive instrument that you can raise, because what you're really paying for equity is actually a share of your profit. So every 10% of equity. So let's say in your company, you give me 10% of your company and I give you money for it. I also become 10% profit shareholder in your company. So tomorrow, whatever money you make, I am also liable to get 10% out of it. So with every equity raised, you lose your profit share. So this is actually the most expensive part of equity. And I think equity is a very expensive source of fund. Now, what happens when your equity capital, so you've looked at your balance sheet, let's say 2018 to 19 or 19 to 20, and you see your equity has gone up. So what does increase means? Increase means that if you have brought in money, then your ownership in the company has gone up and you will get more share of the profits. If a third party has brought in money in your company, let's say you've taken a venture capital, etc., then his share in your company goes up and he will be taking up the share of profit. So if you make 100 rupees, he will take up the percentage of profit that he owns. What does decrease means? This decrease is rarely possible. It is possible, but it has a long list of formalities to be completed. I have very rarely seen any company decreasing its capital. So this is almost like a very extinct possibility, but it is possible if it always look like. So in nutshell, equity may look like an easiest source of fund, but in the long run, this is the most expensive one. So my recommendation to you will be never be in a hurry to raise equity, because that basically means you are giving up your ownership to someone else, and he will ultimately start, even at times, taking part in the decision making. So this is not a cheap source of fund, it's an expensive source of fund. Let's understand reserves. Any questions for equity? Okay, the chat box is empty, so I'm assuming no questions. Okay, so what does reserves means? Reserves means, reserves mostly have two things: profit and loss. So your company has been running for 5 years. Whatever money you've made over the last 5 years will get accumulated and start being reflected under reserves in your balance sheet. So reserve as a word, it means something which you saved over the years. So that simply means for our balance sheets also. Also, at times we raise capital where the 100 rupee share, 10 rupee goes to equity and 90 rupees goes to premium, because we think our company now has more valuation than the basic value of our shares. So that also goes into reserves. Security premiums is little complicated, but it is not very complicated. Just basically means that you may have paid 100 rupee, 10 rupee per share for your company. If I have to now participate in your company, you think your company values at 20 rupees or 40 rupees, then 10 rupee will go into the capital and balance 30 rupees will go into security premium. So this is derived based on the valuation of your company. What does increase means? Increase basically means that you've accumulated profits over the years, or you have raised capital where your valuation is higher than your basic company, basic valuation. And decrease, you should really be worried. If reserves is going down, that means you really need to understand why your reserves are going down. It is a big red flag, either for a banker or for an investor or for anyone looking at your balance sheet. Even if you apply for government funding or awards, they really look at your reserves, because reserves, basically decreasing of reserves means there's something wrong in your company. So you should have an explanation ready that why your reserves have gone down. You should know that, okay, this year we suffered losses and that is why our reserves have gone down. Or there could be some other accounting adjustment which has taken place because of which the reserves has gone down. But this is a red flag and you should always understand and not let this go. So if ever your reserves goes down and your accountant tells you, no, this is not such an important matter, don't listen to him. Get into the deep detail of it, that why is it happening. So that is very important. Reserves is considered part of your equity for any financial analysis and almost all ratios. So we remember ratios, for all basic ratios, reserves is part of equity only. Now let's go to loans. So what is loan? Loan is money that you raise from a bank or your friends, families. Even at times, private investors will give you money at a particular cost. So they will tell you, I am going to lend you 10 lakh rupees at 10% or 5% or 7% or 20%. Loan, as compared to equity, is a better source of funding because it has a fixed cost attached to it. So your interest cost will be between 8 to 15% depending on what is your mode of funding right now. But you know what is the expense you are paying. What happens when your loan goes up? Your interest cost goes up, and so your profit will go down, which is what is written here. And what does decrease means? If you started repaying your loan, your profit slowly will start rising because your interest cost has started going down. So loan being higher is bad for your profit and loss. Loan being lower is good for your profit and loss. Loan and profit have inverse relationship with each other. Okay, so that roughly covers the bigger source of funds. Let's understand current liabilities. So what is current liabilities? Current liabilities is creditors, bills for expenses, even tax dues. So taxes which you're supposed to pay in the next 3 to 6 months are also part of current liabilities. This money is not yet paid to your suppliers. Technically, this money has no cost. This is actually a free money. If you don't put it due for a huge amount of time. If your current liability has a very steep increase, this should be a conscious decision, as a very high delay will lead to increased pricing from your vendors. So let's say if you tell your vendors that, why don't you give me a good pricing? I will pay you in the next 1 month. They will give you a different cost. But if you tell them that I will pay you in the next 7 months or 8 months, they will always increase the prices because they will add, there is a cost of capital that they need to add. So if you keep changing the payment terms, you will not get the best prices from your vendor. But yes, once in a while, based on our businesses, there's always delays which happens. But the lesser it is, the better it is. And a very high current liability is bad for your current ratio. Please remember, current ratio is very important to judge the liquidity of your company. So if I am judging your balance sheet, when I look at your current ratio, and I see a strong current ratio, let's say 2:1 or 3:1, I know that you have a very strong liquidity. In situations like COVID, you will have a lot of cash flow to quickly meet your liabilities. And so I'll give you more points. But if your current liability is very huge, I know that you are going to run into problems at one point of time. So I'll give you a lot of negative marking. So current liability has to be a very good balance of how much you should stretch and how much should you not. Paying vendors quickly is always a sign of healthy cash flows. This means that the company has sufficient money to pay its vendors on time or at times ahead of times. This also helps in improving your current ratio. So this largely covers the source of funds. We will now move to the uses of funds. But before that, you guys have any questions? Till now, we've understood equity, we've understood reserves, and we've also understood current liabilities. Now let's understand how this money is used. So the money is used with fixed assets. And as we said, in manufacturing companies, the fixed assets will always be higher. In trading companies and service companies, the fixed assets will always be on a very low side. So what does it include? You know, this includes building, machinery, office systems, etc. And any investment done in fixed asset is done for long term. It is never done for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Anything that you invest for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months is not a part of fixed assets. It will be written off. But something which, so let's say when you're buying a computer, your computer is at least supposed to survive for 5-6 years, right? So it is a part of fixed assets. So the basic definition of fixed asset is any investment which you are doing in your asset, which is going to last longer, is going to call fixed assets. Okay. So fixed assets never goes quickly up or quickly down. This will either slowly go up or slowly go down. It will never have too high frequencies of up and down. So that should be a very basic rule. If there's too much high upar niche, you really need to worry and understand why is that happening. There's some goof up happening in your balance sheet. That is why it can go either steeply high or steeply low, that too very frequently. So what does increase in fixed assets mean? Increase in fixed assets should always be a conscious choice. So if your fixed assets has gone up from 1 lakh to 2 lakhs, you should know what have I invested. Have I invested in plant? Have I bought a car? Have I invested in a vehicle for my company? What have I invested because of it my fixed assets has gone up? And similarly for decrease of fixed assets, you should know that why is it going down? What asset did I sell out? Did I sell out my plant this year? Did I scrapped one old machinery because of which it went down? You should know why your fixed asset is going down. Only reason we should not worry is depreciation. Depreciation is an accounting adjustment. It's basically the way of the investment that we do in our fixed assets. A share of that is taken to profit and loss every year, and that is what it is called depreciation. You may understand depreciation as a way that it is the cost of using my fixed asset, and so my fixed asset goes down by depreciation every year. Depreciation you really don't need to worry about. If you have a good accountant, he'll do a good job with it. So this is largely what fixed assets is all about. Now let's understand the next, which is current asset is somewhere where always a lot of your attention should go. It includes raw material stock, it includes finished goods stock, it includes your debtors. Debtors are invoices which you've raised, but they've not yet paid. Advances and deposits, you've paid 10 months of rent, that is a part of deposits. And the cash in bank balance that you will have. So all this is part of current assets. What does increase in current asset mean? Increase in current asset is a good thing for current ratio. It's a thumbs up for your current ratio. But as owners, you should know why is it increasing. Have I increased my bank balance, cash balance, which is a good thing. But have I invested more in my stock? Mostly I keep 2 months of raw material. Have I kept 4 months of raw material? So maybe I think that, okay, economy is going to go, the prices of my raw material are going to really go up. Let me stock for 4 months. And so that is why my current assets are going up. but you know that you are not in an industry जिसका price बहुत ऊपर नीचे जाता है. So why has the current assets gone up? So this is something that you should know, because a high current asset means your money is getting blocked in it. And if you've taken loan from the bank, you're paying interest on it, right? So you should know that why your current asset has gone up. At times, your purchase manager will just buy it because for some other reasons. But if he's bought at higher cost, or you don't need to buy it right now, then why pay that cost on capital? Why block that money in current assets? Decrease in current assets is, although not good for current ratio, but it is good for your cash flow. That basically means you've released some capital from your current assets, and it can be used for other purposes, or you can pay your bank loan for that matter. However, a very steep decrease in current asset, you should know why is it happening. If your current asset is very strongly going down, so mostly, let's say you, as I said, you keep 2 months of stock, but your current assets has really gone down. So you suddenly see, oh, we don't have stock for more than 15 days. And you know that you're going to fall into a problem. So a balance sheet will help you understand your operations, or your balance sheet will suddenly tell you that I had just bought my current assets. If I'm just having 15 days of capital of stock, that means someone is stealing my current asset. Someone is stealing my current of my stock. And so these things will also give you that understanding. So a very steep, a current asset going up is good for your current ratio, but bad for your cash flow. So, and vice versa. So you should accordingly keep that in mind. So as a summary, current assets and current liabilities are very important for deciding liquidity of any organization. It plays an important role while your financials are judged, especially by a banker, private investor, a venture capitalist, or similar people. So the bankers really very, very important for them is your current ratio. So current assets by current liability, if we see a 8, 9, 10 current ratio, that is also not good, because that means you have too much of inventory versus you're not using your vendor's money at all. So it has to be a good balance between current assets and current liabilities. Is that what you have to keep in mind? Okay. So this roughly completes the analysis of the balance sheet of the bigger sections. The bigger sections that we studied here of the balance sheet. I'll just go to the first page. Yeah, this. So these are the top sections of our balance sheet, and we've understood each going up or going down, what impact does it has for your company, and you as owners, what do you have to keep in mind?